is that I see a lot of people, I guess, a lot of challenges when it comes to the application.
My name is Ahmed Elnaggar, and this is Monday Legal.
Good morning, I'm Ahmed Elnaggar, and this is Monday Legal. And as you know, we agreed with Clotilde to be our special guest who appears at least once a month to speak to us about important legal topics. Thank you very much for coming again.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for having me today and in the past few months.
We always would like to speak about important legal topics, especially with the family law, and that's why we have the expert with us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today because actually we're going to speak about your country, Egypt. So your President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, so hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Very good.
On May 20 of 2024, issued the Unified Insurance Law number 155 of 2024. Now, this is a general insurance law that introduced different type of amendments to Egyptian insurance law. Of course, we don't have the time or the interest in these specific circumstances to review the whole law, which is quite extensive. But there was one part of the law that caught my attention, and actually thank you because you flagged it to me, which is something peculiar that we've not seen before and in any other countries as far as I'm aware, and is the obligation for, is introducing the obligation for people that intend to get married in Egypt to enter or to apply for an insurance coverage that would cover some expenses that are connected with a possible or potential divorce. The laws provide for some minimum fee payment, which I think from my understanding is affordable by majority probably of Egyptians that would be in age of getting married.
Married, yes.
Because the Egyptian pounds.
I think it's like 50,
it's about 50 pounds.
Yeah.
It's 50 Egyptian pounds at the time of the marriage contract fee, and then there is another small fee to be paid in case of divorce, which is 25 Egyptian pounds. So what is that in US dollars, Ahmed?
Well, 50 pounds is a little more than $1.
Okay.
So
very
not a big amount.
Yeah.
As a contribution, I think it's a nominal contribution. However, I find it quite unique. I haven't seen any insurance policy against divorce before. I don't know, maybe celebrities in Hollywood would have something like that. I haven't seen it also.
Maybe I was thinking that perhaps maybe some life insurance might be able to cover divorce as like an unexpected event that can affect your financial condition. Question is for you. I have a question for you since you're from Egypt. So the law only provides this insurance for men to pay, and to pay then the claim, the insured amount, which is at the end, I mean the minimum is 25,000 Egyptian pounds is paid to the woman. But there is no provision, for instance, that the other way around could happen. Like, is it very unlikely or uncommon in Egypt that perhaps the woman would be earning more money and the husband would be a house husband?
That's actually a very interesting question. I would say that when they draft the law, they consider the majority and the very common situation that what happened in society. No, you wouldn't see a house-kept husband. Maybe you would
house husband. I wouldn't call him a house kept husband. He's not the captain.
I would say that yes, you wouldn't see that occasion happening a lot, and even if you see it, you find it socially and culturally something that is not very commonly agreed upon or acceptable. So you wouldn't find the regulator confirming or considering a very odd occasion, for something that is not very commonly happening. And when they draft the law, they feel like, okay, What is
that
the
the
most...
women are still the weakest link in
Still.
the relationship,
Absolutely.
or the weakest party in a case of a divorce from a financial standpoint, because generally women make less money, so that's
Most possible. I was just
Probably, yeah.
commenting on the amount. I think the regulator have put a minimum
Yeah.
for it. I'll be very much interested into looking at how much would be the actual practice, if how much people were going to be contributing, because if they contribute more, I guess the
Absolutely.
insurance policy pay in the end will be
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah, because £25,000 are around $530,
Yeah.
which doesn't sound much, especially in Dubai money.
Yes.
It's not something that it would solve anyone's issue, probably a couple of days, maybe
Yes.
3.
So that brings me to the next question. Do you
Yes.
think we should apply this here?
Have an insurance here. I think it would be great, especially because, as you know, the main issue here is when divorce happens is that because most families, again, we speak about majority of cases, and not everyone is the same, but the majority of cases you would have a husband that has been moved here by the multinational corporation he works for, and the wife leaves their job, the wives leave their jobs in their country of origin, and then they're here and they might find another job, or they might not be able to find a job, or they might decide to focus on the children because the husband is focusing on their career. So in order to support the husband in his career, they would just not work for a few years, and then the husband or the wife, the marriage is not working, and the husband, so the wife needs to divorce the husband. And one of the main issue that we find affects affects women and children is their inability for a certain period of time to have access to funds, especially if the divorce has not been amicable. And very often men use economic pressure in order to try to get the best out of the situation, or force their decisions and their wishes into this very initial phase, which sometimes, I mean, in Abu Dhabi, it's a very short period of time. It's about 3-4 months. It can also be shorter, but in Dubai it can extend to 6 months and more.
Yeah.
If it is very litigious, and if there are lots of discoveries to be made during the petitions for alimony, and so that's something that is troubling for many women. So I would think that a solution of this type, if provided by the government, would be an amazing tool to protect women. It would also probably assist the government into providing assistance to or funding, any place like refuge for women that are in abusive relationship and whose husband have left with no money, with no access to groceries, and perhaps with children.
I think amazing for the welfare of the society, and everybody will be happy about it. So I give my message to the regulator here and the insurance regulator in the UAE and the UAE government. If there is any way to consider a new regulation to make it mandatory to protect the interests of families and interests of children and women who are here in the UAE, to introduce an insurance policy that can be mandatory for married couple to protect the family from the devastating consequences of divorce, that would be very highly regarded and seen by the community.
Yes. Abu Dhabi regulation number 8 is very specific to some part of the alimony that needs to be paid to the wife, and then it leaves another type of alimony at the discretion of the judge. Dubai leaves the
entirely in the hands of the judge.
hands of the judge. However, the judge will have to consider a number of aspects that are listed by the law. And those aspects are the economic conditions of the father, the duration of the marriage, whose fault it is that the marriage has ended. So despite the fact that this is called a no-fault divorce, and so you can apply and you don't have to have a reason why the divorce is being applied for. However, specific circumstances to the reasons why the divorce has happened can be used during the petition for alimony to determine the amount of money that the woman or the husband, that the woman will be entitled to as alimony for herself, not for the children.
Not for the children,
yeah?
Okay.
Then what is the father obliged to pay? The father must pay education, clothing, anything,
medical,
cost
housing
that is related to the children is the father's responsibility.
Yes.
As to the payment of the rental of the place where the children live, because of the fact that, you know, here in the UAE we have to make a distinction between custody and guardianship.
Yes.
The custody is split 50-50 between the father and the mother, but very often the children leave, or the judge will decide that the children leave mostly with the mother. Why? Because the father are working full time. It's not fair for children to be brought up by a nanny, and because the wife is usually a stay-at-home mom, so a homemaker, the wife is the one that keeps usually the children during the week, and then the children go with the father during the weekend. We find that in Dubai, unlike in Abu Dhabi, the law does not say that if any of the parents remarry, then that parent loses the ability to guardianship of the child. So the parents may remarry, and that does not necessarily imply or affect custody. However, in practice, we have seen in the few cases that we've handled that the judges will tend to, when somebody has remarried, will tend to agree with the mother that it is better. So if the father, for instance, is remarried, the judge will limit the time that the minor will have to stay in the father's place, or vice versa,
yeah,
of the spouse that remarried.
Yeah.
Especially if the remarriage or the marriage has happened very quickly after the divorce. Because unlike in the case, for instance, of a divorce due to Sharia law, so where you have to wait 3 months before you can remarry, according to non-Muslim or foreigners, Federal Law 41 of 2021, there's no such a thing. There is no waiting time. So you have to wait the 30 days for the divorce decree to be published, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is, it's harder. It's harder to convince the judge that the situation is fine and that they can live with the father or with the mother that remarried so quickly after a divorce. So I would say for anybody that perhaps is thinking of divorcing and immediately remarried, to think about the children, because it is traumatic for a child to see, to go through a divorce and then immediately having to accept someone else
in the family,
and then having to go and live in someone else's house with somebody that they've not known for much time. So it's a little bit tough in that regards.
Very interesting discussion. Let's go for a break, have a coffee, and come back to this very interesting topic.
Amazing. See you in a bit.